The Texas offense is broken. The Locked On Longhorns postgame show starts now. Intro.
You are Locked On Longhorns, your daily podcast on the Texas Longhorns. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. You were locked on to the Texas Longhorns. I'm your host, BK Brad Kellner, Texas grad, Austin local, and longtime sports radio host here in the Lone Star State. Thank you for making Locked On Longhorns a part of your day every single day. This episode is brought to you by Mazda. Just like there's more to every player, more dedication, more attention to detail, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Stay tuned later in the episode for highlights in this week's Mazda Moving the Game Forward. Mazda, move and be moved. Texas takes down UTEP 27-10. I don't know if I've ever been more disappointed in a 3-score victory than I am right now. The Longhorn defense did its job. I'm not very worried about the garbage time touchdown that UTEP scored late in the fourth quarter. No problems there. Texas had a bunch of third and fourth stringers on the field. The Texas defense did its job today, and they've done its job for all 3 games that the Longhorns have played this season. But the Longhorn offense looks lost right now. And we were all hoping this would be the first time in 2025 that the Texas offense would start to put it together and start to give us reason to believe that this was going to be a special group. But instead, they went in the wrong direction. They were better in week 2 than they were in week 1. And we were hoping they would continue to progress and show more signs of life in week 3 against the weakest opponent that they have played so far this season. And instead, they took a big step backward. I'd say they took multiple steps backward with their performance today. This offense is in a bad spot right now. 27 points against UTEP. Utah State played this UTEP team in week 1, and they scored more against the Miners than Texas did. This offense is broken right now. And it's a very similar conversation to the one that we had right after the Ohio State game. The 2 highest paid people associated with the Texas football team in 2025 just aren't getting the job done right now. You're a $10.5 million head coach, and I don't know exactly how much Arch Manning is making, but we're seeing him on a lot of commercials. We know he's got a bunch of NIL deals. We know that dude is cashing in right now, and those 2 guys just can't figure it out. And it's not just them. There are other problems with the Texas offense, but it starts with the head coach. It starts with the quarterback. Those 2 guys just aren't good enough right now. And unless they turn things around, this is going to be a very underwhelming season for Texas football. I mean, this looks like an 8-4 football team right now, guys. Like, I don't know how anybody can feel confident in this Longhorn offense going into SEC play. The good news is they still have 2 weeks to figure it out. The game against Sam Houston next Saturday night, and then a bye week before the trip to the Swamp in early October. But again, they are going backwards. I don't have any reason to believe that this thing is going to look a hell of a lot different 3 weeks from today. And that is when the Florida game will happen in Gainesville. So much bad today. And I mean, the stat line for your quarterback tells the whole story. Arch Manning was 11 of 25 for 114 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. It took him until midway through the fourth quarter to crack 100 yards passing against UTEP at home midway through the fourth quarter. And they were showing the stat on the SEC network broadcast. Texas hadn't had a game without a passing touchdown since 2022. Now, you did see Arch Manning find Ryan Wingo for his first touchdown of the year. I guess that's a positive. Nice to see Ryan Wingo making a couple of plays happen late. Nice to see him get into the end zone. That's something we all wanted to see, but that's how bad it was. I mean, Texas damn near win an entire football game without a passing touchdown for the first time in 3 years, and you did it at home against UTEP, a team that you were supposed to beat by 40.5 points. You were 6 touchdown favorites in this game, and you didn't even get close to covering that. I mean, you weren't halfway to covering the spread in this game. Arch Manning was horrible. He got off to a decent start. Started the game 3 for 4. Looked like he was in a little bit of a rhythm early. And then how about a stretch of 10 straight incomplete passes for Arch Manning? The second quarter was abysmal for him. I mean, he couldn't hit water if he was falling out of a boat. He was 2 of 12 for 15 yards, and he had that one interception in the second quarter of this game. Just awful. Overthrowing Parker Livingston, overthrowing Ryan Wingo, another sidearm pass to Ryan Wingo. What is he trying to do with those? Like, we didn't see that last year from Arch Manning. That's the most confusing part of all of this. Is I know it was a small sample size in 2024, but in the 2.5 real games that Arch Manning played in, he looked so much better than he looks right now. It is awful for him at this moment in time. He looks completely lost out there. And it's not all on him. He's not getting enough help from his head coach / offensive play caller. The offensive line isn't dominating the way that they should against these type of teams. The running game isn't consistent enough, and now you're even more banged up there. The receivers haven't been perfect. But look, you can make all of the excuses you want. Arch Manning just isn't playing good enough right now. We are 3 games into the season. We are 25% of the way through the regular season. And the best offensive play for Texas is the quarterback run. Like, that's unacceptable. The 16-wheeler package, we're going back to the Tyrone Swoops days right now. I'm sitting here thinking Shane Buechele or David Ash would give Texas a better chance to win these football games. Like, that's how bad it is for Arch Manning. He looks lost. His reads are off. The accuracy is not there at all. And in the second half, I mean, Steve Sarkisian, he put the training wheels back on Arch Manning. Some people have argued that, oh, he hasn't taken them off. He hasn't let Arch go yet. No, he tried to open things up for Arch Manning in this game. Arch just couldn't hit anybody. So Sark is like, you know what? I see my kid falling on his face over and over again. Maybe he's not ready to bike without the training wheels. So literally, he just the whole offensive game plan in the second half was handoff after handoff after handoff, which I don't know if I agree with it, because like, you feel like Arch Manning needs more reps, and you feel like he's got to find a way to get himself out of this funk, right? Handing the ball off isn't going to help him turn things around. But I almost feel like Sark, was just trying to protect Arch Manning from himself. Arch got booed at the end of the first half, and I think Sark lost all confidence in his quarterback, and he didn't want his quarterback to get booed again. He didn't want him to get even more rattled moving forward. He didn't want him to be completely broken. That's why the game plan changed the way that it did in the second half. Look, Texas, in Sark's mind, he's going to say, oh, we were just trying to win the football game, and we felt like that gave us the best chance to win the football game. And he's not wrong, because the running game was much more effective than the passing game today. But I really think if you gave Steve Sarkisian some truth serum, he would tell you that is the reason why. He just lost confidence in his quarterback. And I think a lot of Texas fans lost confidence in number 16 with the way that he played today. I mean, it is bad, man. It is really, really bad right now. He's going backwards. He's gotten worse from last year, but he got worse from last week. You kind of understood it in game 1, all of the pressure and going on the road against that team in that house. You understand that, okay, things looked a little sluggish offensively, but against this team at home, you're 40.5-point favorite, according to our friends at FanDuel. It's unbelievably bad for Arch Manning right now. And there were some folks on Twitter calling for Matthew Caldwell. I did not think we would see that. Let me rephrase that. I did think people would be calling for Matthew Caldwell today, but I thought it was because Texas was going to be up like 49-3, and it was like, we can't have Arch Manning get hurt. Let's put Caldwell in instead. I didn't think it would be because Arch Manning was playing so bad that people thought the backup transfer from Troy was going to give this team a better chance to win. That's where it is right now. I mean, this offense all around is abysmal. And we'll spend more time in segment number 2 talking about, Steve Sarkisian. Obviously, he has to wear a ton of this. But some of the things, we wanted to see Texas be better on third down today. They were 5 of 16 on third down. They were 2 of 5 on fourth down. So what is that? 7 of 21 on the money downs. It's 33% against UTEP. Are you kidding me? Just 114 yards passing on 4.6 yards per attempt. How about 7 more penalties for the Longhorns for 78 yards? Better than last week when they had 12 for 115, but still more than you would like to see. They still lost the penalty battle again, and just holding penalties and false starts, and just the offense looks inept right now from top to bottom. There's nothing that you could point to that makes me feel good about this offense, and goes without saying, if that doesn't change, this is going to be a very disappointing year. And I want to say a long year, but it won't be a long year. We want it to be a long year. We want to be playing into January. This thing's going to end in mid-December if it's not cleaned up sooner rather than later. All right, we'll take your thoughts. If you're watching on YouTube, please comment below. One segment to go, just a very quick post-game show today. We got to get into Steve Sarkisian here because he has to wear a lot of this. I don't know if this roster, I should say, I don't know if the offensive roster is good enough to compete. I watched a lot of SEC football today. I'm going to be watching more tonight. It doesn't look like Texas has the Jimmies and Joes right now to hang with some of these other teams in this league. So we will talk about that and just more autopsy. It's weird to call it an autopsy because you won the game by 3 scores. But again, this offense is absolutely broken right now. All right, more to come when we return. This is Locked On Longhorns. But first, a word for our friends at Wayfair. The weather is starting to cool down. The days are getting shorter, and that has me wanting my home to feel even cozier. And Wayfair is the place to go when you want to cozify your home this fall. Wayfair has everything you need to set the mood for the season, whether it's comfy recliners, warm bedding, fall decor, even an espresso machine so you can make your favorite drinks at home. You could totally change the look of your place for the fall season. The perfect time to set up your home for the fall so you can enjoy cozy nights with family and with friends and with football as well. So cozify your space with Wayfair's curated collection of easy, affordable fall updates, from comfy recliners to cozy bedding and autumn decor. You'll find it all for way less at wayfair.com. That's WAYFAIR.com. It's Wayfair. Every style, every home. And a shout out to our friends at Drip Drop as well. If you're trying to stay on top of your routine, whether that's workouts, long days on campus, or staying focused through back-to-back classes, hydration is where it all starts, and that's where Drip Drop comes in. This is a doctor-developed and scientifically proven for fast hydration. It uses the perfect balance of sodium electrolytes and glucose to help your body absorb fluids quickly, delivering 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of a leading sports drink. That's a good combination right there. Drip Drop has become my go-to, especially during these hotter days when I know I'll be sweating it out. They have tons of great flavors as well. Nothing tastes as good. Nothing works as fast as Drip Drop. Right now, Drip Drop is offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first order. Head over to dripdrop.com and use the promo code LOCKEDONCollege. Again, dripdrop.com and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for 20% off. Stock up now before the heat hits hard. All right, welcome back to Locked On Longhorns, your team every day. Texas takes down UTEP 27-10, but again, the offense left a lot to be desired, and they are trending in the wrong direction, and they are running out of time. That trip to the swamp won't be easy, and then, of course, the Oklahoma game right after that. Oklahoma has looked better than Texas through the first 3 weeks of the season. I think a lot of Longhorn fans kind of chalked that one up as a relatively easy win with what we saw from those two teams last year and what the expectations were for this team here in Austin this year. I think a lot of people thought that would be easy for Texas. In the words of Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend. Nothing is going to be easy for this Texas offense if they don't get things turned around. We spent a lot of the first segment talking about Arch Manning. We got to spend some time talking about Steve Sarkisian here. I mean, look, ultimately, this all falls on him. I know he's not the offensive coordinator, but he's the offensive coordinator. This is his offense. He's the offensive play caller. He's the guy who's paid $10.5 million to make the offense work. Pete Kwiatkowski's doing a fantastic job on defense. No questions about his side of the football. He is earning his paycheck right now. He's the guy who should be making $10.5 million. Those two guys should be switching salaries the way these two units have been playing so far this season. Steve Sarkisian paid a lot of money to find a way to make the offense work, and this was the preseason #1 team in the country. There were a lot of expectations for this quarterback and for this offense as a whole, and a lot of people believed that this was kind of the first year where Steve Sarkisian really had all of his pieces in place, and this was the exact offense that he wanted to have. And, well, I hope not. I hope this wasn't the offense that he wanted to have, because this thing is a joke right now. The best player on offense today for your Texas Longhorns was James Simon, who is the 5th string running back on this team. Simon got a lot of run, 17 carries for 67 yards. That's 3.9 yards a carry. He ran hard, made a couple of guys miss. I thought he was a bright spot, and that's a true freshman right there, getting his first collegiate snaps. But that is a problem when your best player is your fifth string running back who's only out there because Trey Wisner didn't play today, and C.J. Baxter got hurt on his first carry, which that sucks too. Obviously, C.J. Baxter worked his tail off to get back onto the field here in 2025, and it did not look good. One play, limped right off the field, and he was limping. He was in street clothes by the end of the game, and he was limping off the field into the locker room when the game was all said and done. So really, really tough for C.J. Baxter, but obviously that's a big storyline for Texas going forward. We know Trey Wisner's been dealing with a hamstring injury. Not sure when we'll see him again. Now C.J. Baxter could miss some time as well. So you're down your top two running backs right now. But again, the overarching thought here is that your most impressive player on offense was your fifth string running back, which is just insane. Steve Sarkisian, and I get it, Texas didn't have his full complement of players today. Again, no Trey Wisner, no DeAndre Moore, no Emmett Mosley. Those guys would help. They're really talented players, and having them out there hypothetically would make this offense function better than it did today. But, Steve Sarkisian didn't hit the transfer portal very hard on offense. He went out and got one receiver. Last year, he got three. He didn't go out and get a running back. He didn't go out and get an offensive line. That's the thing. And we talked about it in the offseason. I gave Sark and Kyle Flood the benefit of the doubt here because what they've done with the Texas offensive line has worked way more often than not since they got to Austin in 2021. But you lose 4 offensive linemen starters from last year, including a top 10 pick, 4 offensive linemen from a Joe Moore Award finalist last year. And instead of going out, you're Texas. You've got money. You've got resources. You saw a bunch of other teams go out and bring in O-linemen from the portal. No, they're not cheap, but again, you've got the resources to go out and do it. Steve Sarkisian, Kyle Flood, they bet on the guys that they had in-house. And I'm not seeing enough push up front from the Texas offensive line. I'm really not right now. And again, I thought they played pretty well against Ohio State in week 1, but against 2 very inferior opponents, I haven't loved the push that they've gotten either in the run game or in the passing game. I mean, they ran for 4 yards a carry today against UTEP. They ran for, I think, their running backs ran for 4.5 yards a carry last week against San Jose State. You should be running for 6, 7, 8 yards a clip against guys like this. Usually, when you're talking about a team like Texas going up against a team like San Jose State or UTEP, the biggest difference between the two sides is in the trenches. That's where you notice it the most. Texas, the offensive line's like 50 pounds heavier than every UTEP defensive line, yet the Longhorns aren't getting push up front. So the offensive line isn't good enough. They had a chance to go bring in some more bodies from the portal, and they didn't do it. They banked on the guys that they've had, and it's not really working right now. And again, I didn't think the play calling was all that bad today. I thought in the first half, Steve Sarkisian schemed up enough open receivers. It was just Arch Manning wasn't hitting them. But don't forget, Sark is the guy who works closest with Arch Manning. I know you've got A.J. Milwee there too, the quarterback coach. He's got to wear some of this, but Sark is the supposed quarterback guru, the supposed quarterback whisperer. He's the guy with the track record of developing quarterbacks. One of the reasons why Texas fans and people around the country felt so good about Arch Manning going into this year, even though it was his first year as a starter, was because this is his 3rd year in the system. He's gotten to work behind the scenes with Steve Sarkisian for 2 full years. So he knows the offense. He knows the verbiage. He knows what his coach is looking for. And, clearly he's gotten better. He's got to be really good. He's worked with Sark for 2 years and behind Quinn Ewers. All that stuff should mean the transition period for Arch Manning going from the bench to being QB1, it should be pretty easy for him. Nope. Again, regression. That's the word of the day. Arch Manning looks worse this year than he did last year. He looked worse this week than he did last week. Guys, this Texas team has had 5 minutes of good offensive football this year. And that was the, 4 minute and 56 second stretch against San Jose State at the end of the first quarter and the start of the second, where they scored 28 points. They got 4 turnovers on defense to set up the offense with a bunch of short fields. Credit the offense. They turned those short fields into touchdowns, but that's it. Outside of that 5 minute stretch, this Texas offense been stuck in the mud this season. And again, one game against a really good team. The other two games, it shouldn't look like that at all. So Steve Sarkisian's got to figure this out. He's tied to Arch Manning, but also he, more importantly, is tied to this entire offense. And he has to wear this, and he's got to figure it out quickly. Otherwise, this season is going to fly off the rails. Very fortunate that the Longhorns are playing these teams right now, because if these were SEC games, I watched Georgia and Tennessee play. I think we all did on the other screen. Those two teams are on a different stratosphere than Texas right now. And I've watched a lot of SEC teams play this year. A lot of them look better than Texas right now. The Longhorns might have the worst offense in the entire conference. That is saying something. I'm worried about Mississippi State now. I'm worried about Kentucky now. If this offense is going to play like this, again, this is going to be a major failed season for Texas. The defense looks 12-0 good. The offense right now looks 5-7 good. And, well, that's got to change. So there you go. My initial thoughts. By the way, Texas turnover on downs on their first possession of the game today. That is now 33 opening drives since the start of the 2023 season, because they played 33 games. They've scored points on just 9 of them, and they are 0 for 3 this year. So they're not getting off the fast starts. The passing game, again, the stat line, the eye test, if you watch, you know what I'm talking about. Hell, you didn't have to watch. Look at the box score. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The passing game's not there. You didn't run it consistently enough or effectively enough. The offensive line ain't great. The wide receivers, you're shorthanded, but those guys aren't getting open as often as they should. Outside of that, everything is fine with the offense. Quarterback, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, offensive line, they're all bad. Play calling, coaching, bad. Outside of that, everything's great. Hope y'all enjoy the rest of your weekend. Things will be okay, I think. Feel good about Texas winning next week to get to 3-1. After that, it's anybody's guess. It is anybody's guess. All right, that's going to do it for the post-game show here on Locked On Longhorns. If you made it this far, God bless you. Thank you very much. Please remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Would love to hear y'all's thoughts. Texas wins 27-10. But again, another horrible performance for the Longhorn offense. That unit is broken right now. There is no way around it. That'll do it for today's show. For your next watch, make sure you check out Locked On Bets with my man Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers. They are your one-stop shop for all of your sports betting needs. Find Locked On Bets on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. We might do a show tomorrow. If not, we'll do one on Monday. More fallout from this game. I'm going to go back and rewatch it, and we'll have more in-depth analysis on just everything that went wrong for the Longhorns on offense. But appreciate y'all watching. Until next time, horns up, mics off. See y'all soon. This is Locked On Longhorns.